Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name is Dona Kappmeyer, and I'm the CEO and firm owner of ActionCOACH in Coastal Bend and Kappital Game Plan Consulting in South Texas, and I will be your host for today. I'm very excited to have our special guest, Christine Majors, on our show. Christine is a principal of Balcones Field Services. Today, we're going to speak with Christine about her journey to get to where she's at today and the challenges and successes of owning and operating a business. If this is your first time on our channel, please be sure to like and subscribe so you can get great content and notifications when we publish new content. Well, Christine, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate the introduction.
You're quite welcome. Well, let's go ahead and get started by having you take a moment to share a little bit about your business and your journey.
Yeah, well, thank you. Became interested when we met at the meeting with Giants, where we won a grant award thanks to Chenier. And my background story was pretty entertaining. So it was it's a windy road that got me here. But I began my undergraduate degree at Texas A&M University in College Station with my eyes set on being a chemical engineer. I grew up in the Baytown, Pasadena area, and everybody worked at a refinery. And I saw that I can be a shift worker and work in the control rooms, or the chemical engineers, they seem to make more money. So I'm going to go do that. But I got into about my third semester calculus, and it's like, I don't want to do this. It's not for me. So I flipped through the catalog, real book, and I saw wildlife and fishery sciences. And I said, that'll do. That sounds fun. And I didn't have to lose any credits. So I transferred to that school and graduated and went out into the world. And I decided that with that degree, I wanted to manage a ranch. So I moved home to Concan and got a job at Oasis Outback in Uvalde. So I figured that's where ranch people go. They go to the ranch supply store. I was sitting there stringing a bow, learning how to put a whisker biscuit on. And a guy walks up and says, is that a 4-year degree on your ring, on your finger? Yes, sir. He said, what are you doing working here? I said, well, I'm going to meet a ranch manager and go use my degree and manage ranches for, cattle and deer and wildlife, all these things. He's like, no, you're not. That's not going to work. Come work for me and make some real money as a landman running title. So I did that for a while out in Zavala County and Crystal City and learned all about railroad commission permitting. And meanwhile, one of my friends I'd gone to school with went straight to work for HDR Engineering, a large A&E engineering firm. She called, she said, are you tired of living out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself, just you and your wiener dog? I said, yeah, I am. So I'm going to die here. So I applied for a position in their Dallas office, and I got it, was accepted, and started at the bottom of the totem pole as a junior biologist, and ended up working in that Dallas office for a few years until I got married and my husband refused to move to Dallas, but somehow Houston was our middle ground. Transferred there and worked with a group there and got some coastal experience, and our lives took us to Austin, San Antonio, and finally in Corpus, where I took the position to lead their environmental group on the Gulf Coast. And I worked there for a while until I decided, it's been 16 years, and I wanted to try and do it on my own. It became a very big firm. Great people there. I love the engineers and all of the experience. But I looked out, and there was a friend of mine, Tony Bassett, who had been trying to get me to come work for him for about 9 years. And I reached out to him one time when I was in Dallas, and I said, hey, let's go have a beer and talk about what you want. So
all right.
He and Lisa had started Balcones Field Services about in 2015, and they have a booming pipeline and refinery compliance and inspection field survey crew, and they wanted to expand and clients, give their business some resiliency. And so that's what they wanted me to do, is come on and add my expertise, which is the NEPA, Section 10404 permitting, mitigation, grants, all this sort of fun, more front end things, whereas they're still back end. So I did that almost 3 years ago now, and I've grown my group. Most of us are in the Corpus Christi area. Tony and Lisa are in McKinney, and we have a crew in Oklahoma and Louisiana, and wherever the jobs are, we have some crews going. But we've got 5 or 6 people here with me in the Corpus office, doing lots of fund coastal permitting and help them with protected species issues and all sorts of agency coordination and fun. So I'm doing what I still love, but for a small, woman-owned business, and it really makes it a lot more personal, able to really be one-on-one with my clients and do what I always set out to do, which was do good work, a little less red tape, and do it in a cost-effective manner, a little faster than I was able to before. So that's where I am now.
Fantastic. Well, we always like to lead off with mistakes. So let's talk about some of those. What were some of your biggest mistakes as you got into this smaller business? What were some of your biggest mistakes that you've made, and what did you learn from them?
Well, I think right off, I was lucky to get some work pretty quickly. I started with nothing when I got here, called all my old clients, and I got work, and there were just a couple of us here doing it. So it's really, nose to the grind, trying to do good work on those contracts I had won. And I kind of lost sight of that main rule of business: don't ever stop marketing. And I got my head up at the end of several contracts and realized I didn't have a lot of backlog. So even though there were just 2-3 of us at that time, I was like, I got to go get some work right now. So there were a couple months of struggle, which when you're at the bigger firm, it's okay. You can get carried. But when it's up to you to bring in the work and pay the bills, it matters a lot more. So I got back to it, and now I don't let marketing slip. Try to stay
Love that.
all the time.
Love that. So let's talk about your industry today or your business today. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face?
It's always been in this industry, evolving regulations and each
Okay.
agency's interpretation of them. It is a lot more chaotic more recently, and every day I wake up and hope I have a career still in environmental regulatory, but it's trying to stay on top of those, which every day I'm trying to read the headlines, get up to it. But I was a former national board member of the National Association of Environmental Professionals, and I'm on the Coastal Bend and Bays Foundation as a trustee, and I'm in the Wetland Society, San Antonio Pipeliners Association, Southern Gas Association, these different things. And maybe as a younger biologist, I really saw them as more marketing, got to get my training credits so I can get my certifications. Now I'm like, these help me keep up with what's going on. I may just have time to read the highlights that come through on their email blast, but for those things, I don't know. It's hard to keep up, but sure a challenge. The other thing that's always a challenge, and it's been a challenge all through my career, is GPS equipment.
Okay, explain more.
Any environmental scientist consultant will go, oh yeah, you'll be out in the field and you've lost corrections. It won't find a fix. You get back in the office and none of the latitude, longitude points collected, or some attribute that you needed to get for wherever you're doing didn't actually save. It looked like it was in the field, and then you're like, oh, it's just, I've found some pretty good equipment now that we have that has solved a lot of those problems, but it's like I know enough about GPS equipment and GIS to be dangerous, but not enough to like fix it on the fly all the time. So there's been a lot of relearning going to the small business, teaching myself to do it again, but a constant is just issues with, and it's probably mostly user error, but GPS equipment and GIS info is always difficult.
Wow. Well, we don't want to say it's user error. It's got to be the equipment, right? For
Yeah,
sure, it's the
definitely.
equipment.
Right.
So, where do you see this business in the next 5 years? What does it look like for you?
Well, we are proud to be a certified small business, woman-owned business, and we want to stay that way. And I want to keep, my focus when I came into this, like you said, which is keep my focus on the clients and the work and the quality. So I want to stay small, but maybe expand to about maybe 10 people total under me, along the Gulf Coast, somewhere between Brownsville and Louisiana. It's my expertise. There's lots of work, great clients here. I've got a good niche, stick with that, along with our 20 to 30 pipeline inspectors to keep them going around Texas on different pipeline jobs as they go in, or refineries as they're constructed. So we want to stay there, get a little bit bigger enough to really hit our main target clients, and then get it like a maintain level. Because at that point, Tony, Lisa, and I would really like to start a nonprofit side and use our skills to benefit either our own new one or add on to the efforts at Amos Rehabilitation Keep in Port Aransas or the Texas Sea Life Center. If you've ever met me in person, it's no secret I love sea turtles a lot. And I'm lucky that I've been able to get on the scientific permits at several agencies here, so that I can help stranded, injured sea turtles and help collect nests when they come in and kind of cover for everybody else. So it's like my reward for all the really difficult ones we've had to do. I'm like, oh, I think that project took 5 years off my life, but I got to save sea turtles. So
it's all about perspective.
Yeah, that's where we want to get. We want to get to that good, maintaining our client and quality, but have enough that we can do that and give back.
Fantastic. I love that. So let's talk about some of your folks that have inspired you or have been mentors or guides. When you think about success, who do you think of and why?
So this is it's a challenging, deep question. But I think in general, my entire life, I've thought about my Uncle Jamie as a success. He is also a small business owner. He's had successful businesses and he's had ones that have failed. And I've watched him go up and down through all of them. He and his husband have been married for, I think it was 30 years. And they've stayed together. They've focused on their health and their happiness, and they travel. And he doesn't give up. He's like, oh, well, that didn't work. And now he is, into his retirement years and able to just kind of coast on the work that he had done. I just look at him as like a mentally, career-wise, physically healthy person. He seems to really get that life work balance going really well. So I always have admired that about him. And anytime I'm having a tough time and running my business, I call him, and he always has good advice.
Love that, especially when it's somebody that and somebody that's close that you can lean on. There's nothing like that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
I'm lucky to have him.
So if you talk about your organization and any competitors in your space, what sets you apart?
Well, our people. We have a collection of really great technical experts that care about their work and they care about doing well for the client. I don't go after work that I am not passionate about and I don't want to do, like, if I don't think I can do a good job on. I'm always pursuing, I end up on some really technically challenging individual permits with mitigation and all these other issues. And yeah, they aggravate me, but I like it, like the challenge. And that's our whole team is. There are folks out in the field that are, doing the everyday problem solving for clients. They're doing it because they know it's the right thing to do. It follows regulation, and it does the job correctly the first time. And that's really, we have, different layers of folks of experience in the organization, but all of them like really care about what they're doing. And I think just that commitment, of course, solid team, that makes a difference. Our low overhead certainly makes a great difference between us and our competitors. And that gives us the ability to act faster. I can turn around proposals a lot quicker. I can, so it's faster, more cost effective, and I'm really focusing on the quality for our clients. So that's what we want our clients to see and keep recommending us to their friends. So
fantastic. You had mentioned earlier about kind of slipping on the marketing side and not having in the pipeline. What do you find to be your number one marketing strategy as it relates to your business?
Doing good work. because doing good work for your clients means, one, they at the next project, you'll get repeat business, and then they tell their friends. And the other marketing strategy is I shamelessly ask for work. The work that we provide is not something anybody's just going to give you because they feel bad because they're your friend. That, you don't hire regulatory compliance people for that. They come to us because they have a need, and I just stay in front of them. And a lot of people ask, how do you market? What does that mean? Like, well, for me, it's just talking to people. What do you do in your job? What projects is your company doing? And you just listen. Oh, I had, then you come up with I've been doing this for 20 years. So some kind of experience I can usually relate to and expand on. And then they realize, oh, I could be working with you, and I like working with you on this. So it's really just continuing to talk to the people. And then I just have great clients like Scott Cross at Nueces County and Richard Burge at Reserve, that literally we've gone to meetings and they go, this is my consultant, you should hire her.
Love that. We call that the raving fan, right? When they do all the marketing for you and you can just sit back and watch.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That means the world.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's put our hindsight's 2020s hat on. If you had to do things all over again, would you do anything differently, or what would you do differently?
I'll say education and career wise, I wouldn't change anything. I think all of the hard lessons that I learned, they made me the professional I am today. So yeah, there were some difficult things that maybe didn't go the way I wanted or the way I thought they would, or all of our different moves maybe shook it up, but I was able to meet so many more people and get exposed to so many different kinds of projects and clients, and just made me a more balanced environmental consultant. So, and I had a few years between my 4-year degree and my undergrad, which meant that when I went to get my graduate degree, I knew what they were talking about in class. I was like, oh, I've worked on these things. I understand, you go through a environmental compliance class. I'm like, I know what those things mean. It's way more applicable. So I really liked that. And then I would say maybe just here at Balcones, if I start back over at the beginning, I probably would have engaged with our field inspection and compliance crew sooner. Okay. I got really focused on, okay, I've got to do what I said I do. I got to bring in more clients and build my group and focus on my NEPA, my permitting, and get this going, and just be like, they're fine. Tony and Lisa got them. They got a well-oiled machine going. I am responsible for this. But since I took my head up, reaching out to them, getting to know them, going out on sites, that they've got so many more technical experiences and things to help complement both of our sides of the company. And some of them, they may sit in the field and do stormwater inspection all day, but they would love to go speak at a conference with me, or find out how to help bring in more work. And so I just wish I would have engaged with them a little sooner and brought that in. We're doing it now, and it's been great. And so I think that's the only thing I would have done differently.
Always the better late than never, right? You're doing it now, and that's the main thing. That's what counts. Any other information about Balcones or yourself that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I think one of my favorite things that we do is we use drones a lot. And I know that's a big topic. Everybody has drones, right? Well, I came from a group where I would have like a wetland delineation, and I'd say I'd love to, my other company, like to bring the drone in and get some new aerials and collect some info on it. And they'd be like, cool, that starts at $10,000 to get the pilot in and cost the equipment. It's like, I'm working on a $25,000 contract. They're not going to pay $10,000 to bring in a drone, and I wouldn't. It's silly. So when I came here and started working, I called Tony and Lisa, and I was like, okay, I've got a job. I'd like to use drones on. What do we charge for that? And they were confused. They're like, what do you mean? What do we charge? I was like, but I mean, like, what's our rate, like daily rate, and then markup and that. And they're like, the cost of the pilot's time. So I was like, oh, it's a whole new world.
Oh my goodness.
So, there would we have about 30 folks, but 20 of us have drone licenses.
Oh, nice.
Several folks here in my office. And so that's just part of, we go out and do a delineation. You'll have at least one person who's a pilot, just drone to get aerials, or a TK drone, get infrared. We have a LiDAR drone that we use to collect contours, which has been fantastic for clients that maybe aren't ready to pay for a full survey. But with the centimeter accurate contours that we're getting, they can get their rough estimates on how much fill they'll need to bring in or take out, and do some hydrologic analysis so they can start talking about, if the roadside ditch is going to have, be collecting enough water, or what size stormwater pond they can need, so they can do a lot of rough estimates for what they can do with their property. And then a big success we had with them was I'd been asking to use drones to the Corps of Engineers Galveston District for a while. And on my last mitigation project, I asked again, and they said, sure, why don't you do some pedestrian surveys? We'll do the transect method, and then we'll supplement with the drone data, which was great because we were trying to survey about 150-acre area in August in Corpus. It's very hot.
Oh,
It's like a
yeesh.
safety
Yes.
concern. It's, you could have a bunch of crews out there for a long time. What would normally have probably taken at least a week, having a crew of 2 to 4 full days out there. So it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Safety for the heat, and then, expensive for the client. We were able to do it in 1.5 days. We did 4-hour chunks of it, 3 days to do some pedestrian sampling, and then flew the rest with the LiDAR and used the information that we collected with those contours, and we're able to develop a far more detailed, better map of the habitat types that were out there, much more detailed upland, lowland, tidals, estuarine, flats, those, just the breakup of what was going to be in this area was just a far more high quality product for the client. And the Corps was happy, Fish and Wildlife Service was happy, and they really enjoyed it. So we got the job done for less and faster and better using, our LiDAR drones. And so I was like, that was a huge win, because I was like, man, how are we ever going to finish delineating this giant property? It was a lot of micro habitats and pockets and things that we were able to capture a lot more effectively. So I love the use of drones here. We use it for compliance inspection. Clients can look at their invoices and see which subconsultants said they were out there that day, and they go, hey, I reviewed the video BFS flew, and I don't see your guys out there.
Oh,
So they can
wow.
save money and time. And then, like anybody on the client side that wants to review what's going on in the project, they can watch the progress. So it helps them keep a better idea of schedule and what's going on out there. Use it to find inadvertent returns. We've used to do calculations on secondary containment and inspections in the refinery. So many cool applications that I'm just like, that's one of those places where, like, I know it's really cool and I like to use the output of it. I'm not gonna process that data, but I love using the output.
Oh, shoot, that's fantastic. That's amazing.
I know,
Um,
it's the best.
of course, it sounds like you really like it. So I can hear it in your voice. So what's the best way for our viewers and listeners to get in contact with you?
Well, my team knows that sometimes I get kind of focused and you need to call me. My cell phone number is 214-460-5962. And then my email address is cmagers, CMAGERS @bfs.com. Or you can text as well. And I'm on LinkedIn, and I try to get on there pretty regularly because we have our fantastic Sarah Grayo helps us with all our marketing. Has some great post on our Balcones page. So if you're not following our LinkedIn page, you need to, because it's hilarious and educational.
Even better. Fantastic. Do you have any questions of me or any questions about Action Coach?
Well, I actually wanted to know, what is your maybe favorite success story, or maybe the story of a client you worked with that had a lot of great improvement after working with you? What's your drone?
I actually, thank you for that question. I've got two stories. Working with a client who is in the restaurant business, and I've been working with them now for, let's say, 2.5 years. And it's kind of a sad story, but it probably was the best story or best compliment I ever received. And we started coaching with her and her team, and her husband got sick and he was diagnosed with cancer. And it came very quickly, and they were having to travel back and forth to Houston for cancer treatments, and he ended up passing away again over a very short period of time. And I say it's the best compliment ever. She said, Donna, if it was not for Action Coach, I would have never been able to take off and spend that time with him when he needed me, because I was able to figure out a way to help her free up her time and help her team take on the work for her. So
Yeah.
you can't put a price tag on that, but I will say that's probably the biggest compliment I've ever received. And a second one is a client that's been in business local to the Livonia area. They're a manufacturer, and they've been in business since 1978. They're second generation. I've started working with them, and now it's been over 3 years. And we, something that would have never happened, but we acquired another company, and we are looking at the possibility of either being an investor in another company, which maybe one or two. And that, in a million years, I said that would have never happened. They would have just stayed in that business, run it, and then now we're like, oh, now we're starting acquisitions, and now we're looking at another opportunity. And
Wow.
situation, never in a million years, but it's like working with them and getting them to believe in themselves and what the opportunities are, and helping them work through it. And again, another great success story for them, and it makes my heart happy.
Yeah, that's very impressive on both stories.
Thank you. Thanks for
Uh,
asking.
so,
Any
but
other things that you want to share with our audience today, Christine?
um, just, yeah, I'm looking forward to working with you more. And I have two kids, 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they would certainly like me to have a little bit better work-life balance. So it's been a problem of mine. I get a little tied in and committed, and need to tie myself away and focus on that stuff that family matters. And like you said, that's really the end goal of work, is to be able to provide for your family and enjoy life. So I enjoy my work, but need to be able to have a healthy balance. So I'm looking forward to that.
We can help you with that, absolutely. And I believe me, you are not alone in that space. It's more common than not, but we'll help you through that. Well,
Yeah.
Christine, thank you for sharing your story. This has been fantastic, and I know that our audience will find this very valuable. This is a Business Spotlight series with Dona Kappmeyer from Action Coach of Coastal Bend and Christine Majors from Balcones Field Services. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can continue to see our amazing content. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for being on our show, Christine.
Thanks, Donna. Have a great day.
You too. Bye for now.
Bye.